right with you all? Okay, so welcome. My name is Pascal. I'm a relationship coach, and I've called this talk When Life Gives You Lemons, because this is about being in a situation where life has thrown you a bit of a curveball. It doesn't necessarily mean that life is bad or anything like that. It's just about acknowledging that sometimes stuff happens that we don't anticipate is going to happen. And it's about really kind of waking up and thinking, wow, how did I end up here? How did this happen? And is this it? Now, a little bit about myself. I am a relationship coach. As I said, my name is Pascal. I've spent 20 years working for the local authority as a social worker before becoming a relationship coach. I'm a counsellor, and I'm a Relate-trained couples counsellor as well. And I kind of got to a point in my career where I felt like I'd exhausted my social work career, and but I really enjoyed doing what I was doing. So I qualified as a relationship counsellor, but what I realised I was doing, and I love relationship counselling, and I love working with individuals and with couples. But what I realised was that a lot of themes were coming up in the work that I was doing that kind of reflected a lot about my own life as well. And I realised that there were a lot of and I say women, and I don't mean to exclude you, but a lot of the work that I do is with women, where regular themes were coming up in relationships, and they were, for whatever reason, they were unhappy, and so and I related to a lot of those issues. So I put a package of work together in my relationship coaching work to help support predominantly women, but I have two packages of work that I do. I work with women, and I also work with couples, but the threads are quite the same. As I said, I had a lot of common threads coming through, and a lot of that was about being unhappy in a relationship, that it was a loving relationship. So I'm married. I've been married to my husband for 10 years. We've been together for 14 years. And we are happily married. But I also know that there have been periods in my relationship when I have been very unhappy, and I have felt very isolated and very alone. And these were the threads that some women were presenting with. And my husband has Asperger's, so a lot of the time he certainly wasn't intending to make me feel alone, but I felt very isolated and alone, and there were things that I needed to do to keep myself happy and keep myself focused on what I was doing, and that's the work that I do with people. So as I said, I run a 3-month course, but what I want to give you today are the three main areas of work that I do, because they are the ones that I can give to you and you can hopefully take away and do something with. The first area of the work that I do is around goal setting. Now, this is for both my couples work and my individual work, looking at goal setting and the importance of having goals and the importance of being able to think about yourself as an individual, regardless of whether you're in a relationship or not, and what you want for yourself and what you think you need. Now, they could be small goals, or they could be big goals. A lot of women that I've worked with before are mums, and a lot of mums either are very selfless and have lost their identity in their role as mothers, and are very giving to their family and kind of like forget themselves a lot. And a lot of mums sometimes as well feel very guilty that they don't enjoy motherhood as much as they think that they should, and they come to me and they say, you know, I'm just not really loving it as much as everybody tells me that I should do, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to work. And I say, you know, that is absolutely fine. It's whatever makes you happy as an individual. So those relationship goals might be, or individual goals might be, carving out time for yourself, might be either going out and having a couple of nights out with your girlfriends, or making sure that you're having couple time together and you're going out regularly together. It might be starting a Zumba class, getting yourself fit and healthy, or it might be going back to work or having a complete career direction and starting a vocational training course. I mean, it can be literally whatever you want it to be, but I do advise that you that you keep it manageable, and that your goals are you can have whatever goals you want, but don't have 10. They need to be achievable and they need to be workable for you, so that you are able to keep your confidence and your self-esteem high when you're going out and doing them. The next thing is about mindset. Now, mindset is hugely important, because mindset is about how you think about yourself and how you approach life, how are you going to approach those goals. So whether or not you are somebody who likes to go out and get life and doesn't feel stopped or inhibited in any way by going out and doing it, or maybe you're somebody who would like to do certain things, but either doesn't have the time or the money or the energy, maybe doesn't have the confidence even, or the motivation to go out and do it. Mindset is really important for how you think about yourself and how you show up to everybody else. Do you feel confident about yourself? And there's also something there about self-worth, like what do you feel you deserve? What do you feel you're worthy of? And when you're setting your goals, do you feel that you deserve those goals? And do you feel that you are able to go out and achieve them? Then we have a think after that about your tribe. Now, tribe is really important, because tribe are the people who are the main influencers in your life. You might have heard about the 5 people that you hang around with the most are your biggest influencers. Sometimes it's more than that, sometimes it's less. But the way I think about it is that if you have 5 people that you are close to and you spend a lot of time, it doesn't matter whether it's family, friends, or work. You reflect each other's personality. You bounce off each other. So if you are in a place where the people around you are generally quite negative or quite toxic, then it stands to reason that is going to feed into you and how you perceive life and how you perceive yourself. On the other side, if you have got a tribe around you who are really positive, who are go-getters, who are supportive, encouraging, then that is going to also reflect on you, and you are going to be positive, and you're going to be feeling good about yourself and wanting to go out and achieve that. And I think that's really important when we're thinking about goal setting and thinking about where you want to be in your life and what you want to achieve. Are the people who are around you, are they going to tell you that you're fantastic and that you can do it and that you can do anything that you want because you work hard and you deserve it? Or are they going to tell you that that you're dreaming and that it's unrealistic, or that it's just maybe something that you need to do later on down the line? They might not want you to do it now for whatever reason. And the thing about negative people in your life is that they can sometimes feel a bit threatened when you are wanting to do well and you are wanting to achieve. They might not want to see you fly. There's an expression, isn't there? Misery loves company. And I always think it's really powerful, because I have experienced people who, one person in particular, who she wasn't a negative person herself, but the people that she hung around with were very negative people. And there was a lot of kind of alcohol use and a lot of depression, and it was all very depressing. And I just felt that off her every time we were together, and that was a real lesson to me about who I needed to keep in my life to keep me propped up and keep me happy at the time. I worked with a lady once who came to me presenting a lot of these issues. She had been married for 20 years. She was in her early 40s, had been with her partner, her husband, for 20 odd years. And they had 2 children, and they had a very nice life. And she came to me in a real dilemma. She was very, very depressed, and really didn't know what to do. She didn't want to leave her husband, but she was very, very unhappy, and she couldn't see a way of carrying on. She knew something needed to change, but she just didn't know what that was, and she didn't want to be responsible for breaking up her family. But she herself was broken, and she didn't know how to carry on. So we spent a lot of time thinking about her values, goal setting for her. So part of her goal setting, so we looked at the family values, and we looked about what was important about keeping her family together for her and what that meant to her, and what her goals were in regards to where she wanted her relationship to be, but actually also where she wanted to be. And she ended up putting herself forward for a promotion within the same company that she was at, and she got a great job. But even before she'd even got the job, the fact that she gave herself permission to even apply for this promotion, immediately she started showing up differently. Her mindset completely switched once she realised that what she was allowing herself to have, and what she actually felt that she deserved, and then what she gave herself permission to want and to achieve, absolutely changed. She literally changed from one week to the next. She just started showing up differently. She said she was talking to people at work differently because she was able to stand taller. She was able to approach people that she wouldn't normally have approached for conversation. She just felt so much better. She was starting to initiate sex with her husband, which they hadn't done for a really, really long time. That then changed the communication in their relationship. That changed the balance of their relationship. And then the final thing was her tribe, which her friends were very important to her, but actually part of her friends encouraging her, there was also something there about allowing herself to have time away from her family, to have time away from actually everybody in the initial stage, and then allow herself to have time away with her friends as an overnight, like actually going away and having a night just to look after and nurture herself. And that's something that she had initially felt very guilty about doing, because she felt that she was somehow, I don't want to say failing her family, but she felt very guilty. She felt that she was betraying them because they weren't enough to keep her happy. And actually what she then realised was that by looking after herself and by giving herself permission to have time with her friends, outside of the family home and away, she then came back better. She came back happier, she came back more energised, she came back just with a mind shift. It was as simple as that. It was a mind shift. So that was a fabulous piece of work. I often cite that piece of work because I felt very privileged to be part of that journey for her, and it was amazing to see the shift in her, and it reminded me that there was an article that I read it wasn't an academic article, it was just an article that I'd read online somewhere. But it definitely got me thinking that 80% of women feel very unhappy in their relationships, which I was very shocked by, or very saddened by, but not necessarily terribly shocked by. I'm very careful about how I word this, because there was no kind of qualification in the article about what unhappy meant, how long that was for. It was a bit of a kind of like a random figure, but it was a study nonetheless. And I just thought, I wonder how many women don't feel like they are able to look after themselves and prioritise their own needs, because they feel that they are somehow either betraying their family or you know, that they're doing something wrong by looking after themselves and their own needs. So that was a real eye opener for me, and something which I'm very mindful of now in the work that I do. So that's the 3 giveaway things that I want for you guys to have, is to be thinking about your goals, thinking about what you need, what are you allowing yourself to ask for, what are you allowing yourself to give yourself. Do you need to do any work on your mindset? Do you need to think about how you are speaking to yourself? Do you speak kindly to yourself? Do you encourage yourself? Does your inner voice, does it you know, give you a shimmy along the way when you're feeling low, or does it like to kind of keep you down and keep you in a safe place? Because when we have thoughts that are not encouraging, that comes from a place of fear, and it's fear of coming out of your comfort zone, and fear of doing something that is new to you. And then your tribe. Now, hopefully your tribe, your positive tribe, will be your loved ones, your partner, your partner, your loved one, your family. How are you communicating with each other? How do you reflect each other's goals and values? How do you prop each other up if you're feeling down? What is your general communication style like, really? And then the last thing for you to have a little think about, not sure how we're doing for time, we're doing all right for time, is a lovely meme that I saw on Facebook not too long ago. And it got me thinking, and I wonder how you guys relate to it. It was a meme that said, if I asked you to list everything that you loved in life, how long would it take for you to name yourself? And I just thought that was really powerful, because even myself, and even with the work that I do, I don't think I probably would have put myself anywhere near the top of that list. It just wouldn't have occurred to me to do that. So that's my little takeaway for you, really, is remember to look after yourself, and remember to give yourself, give yourself the life that you want, because ultimately you're absolutely deserving of it. I'm sorry you guys have come in right at the very end. I'm so sorry. But I do have some business cards. So I've got a stall over on the other side by the cafe, and I'm going to be there for about another half hour or so. I've got a free ebook if anybody is interested. It's called Top Communication Tips for Lovers. And if you want to just put your email address on this little bit of paper I'm going to give you now, I will send that out to you. And there's also on there the opportunity to have a free 30-minute telephone consultation if you want that as well. So I'll hand these out for you. And I also have a Facebook group and page, You Fulfilled Relationship Coach, So you can always pop on there and have a look. I'm always doing little tips and videos on there, so do feel free to have a look on there as well. Does anybody have any questions? No, that all feel all right? Good. Did you have any questions? Are you sure? Okay, all right, great, thank you. Let me just give